Hello, I'm Evocable Object 4, and welcome back to Slay the Princess. This should be the end of the game. Let me see. Okay, yeah, there it goes. Let's just head up our way into the cabin. Let's go silently.
You make your way up the short path to the cabin. You'll find the princess within.
Sounds good.
A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says.
Feelings gotta be mutual for her.
We're not going to go through with this, right? She's a princess. We're supposed to save princesses, not slay them. Ignore him. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Head in. So the only thing we gotta do is defeat the den and then get 2 endings in the game.
The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture of note is a plain wooden table. Perched on that table is a pristine blade. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right.
No blade. Let's see.
The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp, a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. If the princess really lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice softly carries up the stairs.
Hello? Is someone there?
Alright, the easiest way to lock ourselves into the beast is probably...
It's hypnotizing. It's the kind of voice you only have to hear once to remember it for the rest of your life.
Sure thing.
Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation. You're playing a dangerous game by coming here unarmed.
Lie, I'm here to save you.
Wait, really? You're here to rescue me? I was starting to think I'd be stuck down here forever.
I see. You're trying to get her to lower her guard. It's a gamble, but it might work.
Come downstairs. I want to see the face of my rescuer.
Sure.
You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement.
Wonder if the other chain not being also wrapped around her just represents the potential that she could get out. You know, just maybe it's like a subtle reminder that like, hey, you should be like really careful with this princess. You know, she is actually dangerous. After all, if one chain's broken, who's to say she can't get out by just breaking the other one?
She's beautiful. How could someone like this be a threat to anyone? I am begging you to stay focused. There's a lot riding on you here.
Hi. I can't believe you're here. I've been waiting for something like this to happen forever.
How long has forever been?
I hope you brought something to deal with these chains.
I got nothing but my claws.
You were lying when you said you were here to rescue her, but regardless of your intentions, breaking her out of those chains would be a big mistake. Don't even try it.
I'll go the simpler route. I'll see what I can do.
You're only making this more difficult.
Don't worry. This'll work out.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're making a huge mistake. No, you're doing the right thing. You walk up to the chains binding the princess to the wall and give them a tug. They're large and heavy, far too solid for you to even imagine trying to break them apart.
I'm guessing you don't have the key?
No, not really. Unless you consider the blade the key.
Maybe it's somewhere upstairs. Doubtful. Whoever locked the princess away down here intended for her to never see the light of day. They wouldn't have just left the key to her chains somewhere in the cabin.
I'm gonna check upstairs. Maybe the key is still lying around somewhere up there. And if not, maybe I can at least find something to break you free.
Okay. I'll be here. Good luck.
You attempt to make your way out of the basement, but the door at the top of the stairs slams shut. You hear the click of a lock sliding into place.
Was that the cabin itself saying no, no, no? Or is that the narrator?
Is someone else here? Your shouts and pleas are met with silence.
Okay.
I'll repeat myself once again. You're here to slay the princess, and you won't leave until the task is done.
What if I slayed the princess and then decide not to leave out of spite? Let's go back to the bottom of the stairs. We're not breaking
You
that
make your way
door.
to the bottom of the stairs. This would have been so much easier if you'd just taken the blade like you were supposed to. Easier for whom? Easier for everyone. Look at the mess you're in.
I heard the door slam. They locked you down here too, didn't they?
Oh yeah, gore warning.
There's a slight panic rising in the princess's voice.
I mean, it could be worse.
If I could just get out of these chains, I know we could force our way out of here together.
She is very right about that. Though, I don't even know if I would even need to be prior to the process, to be honest.
She barely hesitates before raising her arm to her mouth, her teeth tearing through her limb with the determination of a trapped wolf. As she rips her flesh from her bone, a sound comes from behind you, the clang of bouncing metal. It's the blade from upstairs. You're not sure how it made its way down here, but if there's a time to strike, it's now. Or we could use it to free her. You won't like what happens if you do that.
Yeah, let's go ahead. Slay the princess. That's what we're here for.
Without hesitation, you bring the blade down and plunge it into the princess's back. Finally. The wound drives her to the ground. Okay, there's no going back now. I'm with you to the end.
You bastard. Were you lying to me this whole time?
Pretty much. Yeah.
The princess pushes away from you, the motion ripping the blade from her back. Wounded, but still alive, she crouches on all fours in the corner of the room and meets your eyes with the ferocity of a cornered predator.
You've made a terrible enemy, and there's nothing in the world that can possibly save you from me.
I thought we had the upper hand, but it's as if she's barely even threatened by us. It's an act. She's wounded and unarmed. There's nothing she can do to hurt you.
Again, I wonder what would happen if we fully trusted the narrator. Like, there's no way this princess can hurt us. If we fully believe it, supposedly it doesn't matter how much she attacks us, it probably wouldn't do much. It's just the fact that she convinces us just enough that she's dangerous, that lets our imagination kind of run wild.
I'm not so sure. Don't waver now. As you ready your blade to deliver a lethal blow, she lunges at your legs with the same animal ferocity she used to tear at her arm. Your knife cuts into her again and again as you're tackled to the ground, your body racked with pain as she rips into you with tooth and claw. Forget about trying to rescue her. This is about survival now. Give her everything you've got.
Slay the princess.
Though your nerves are seizing with pain, you know you've done your fair share of damage as well, your blade having left deep gashes in the princess's back.
I don't know if it's a fair share of damage.
You seize a moment of hesitation to throw her off of you and shakily push yourself back to your knees. We can still turn this around.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen this time. That's interesting that it lets you run for the stairs and lock her in the basement. Because we've already been told that the door's already locked. Maybe that's another continuity error, or simply like you're supposed to always be given the option to be able to get over to the specter if you need to. And it looks like we haven't even grayed out the witch route. We've actually completely just removed it as like even an option. So that's interesting too. I give up.
Are you serious? As what's left of your blood pools around you on the cobblestone floor, the blade falls from your trembling hands and clatters uselessly against the ground. I suppose you simply lacked the will to finish the job. The princess, wounded but still alive, nervously jumps at the blade and kicks it far away from you before retreating into a dark corner of the room.
Oh yeah, that is right. I guess that is where running is an option, because we didn't even cut her free. So, yeah, she would have had to completely just remove her arm on her own while we try to, I guess, fiddle with the door. I don't know.
Her shining eyes watch you from the darkness, unblinking and curious as you bleed out. We can only hope the wounds you managed to inflict will be enough to at least delay her escape from this place. If we're very lucky, they'll kill her before she can reach the outside world.
After all this time alone, I thought I'd finally found a friend, but you were just another monster, weren't you?
Yeah?
This is the end, isn't it? Before you can answer, everything goes dark, and you die.
The Beast.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
Okay,
Oh,
no.
don't you start grandstanding about morals. The fate of the world is at risk right now, and the life of a mere princess shouldn't stop you from saving us all. If he doesn't remember what happened, then maybe it's best to keep it that way. If he doesn't remember what happened, then something else must have trapped us here. You're not trapped here. Nobody's forcing you to do anything, though the only sensible thing for you to do right now is march up to that cabin and slay the princess.
Okay, let's go. Let's go.
A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says. Does a cat lie to a cornered mouse when it plays with its freedom? Or is it just acting out its nature?
I think the answer to both of those is yes. Its nature is to lie just to mess with said cornered mouse.
I don't see why that matters. a lie's a lie, and if anything, she's the one who's cornered. She could have gotten out of there whenever she wanted to. We should trust nothing that she tells us, only what we hear and smell.
True. The hunted is usually always the person to notice that the mirror isn't quite there. So, he's got a good point.
That's a very roundabout way of saying that you should listen to me and take this seriously.
I guess technically you do probably describe what we see and smell, other than the mirror.
Maybe. The interior of the cabin is ruinous and dilapidated. It feels like no one has lived here for a long time, wind rushing in through cracks and holes in the wooden walls. The only furniture of note is a termite-eaten table with a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right.
Might as well look at the mirror one more time.
You walk up to the wall next
Not
to the
the last
basement
time.
door. It's a wall. There isn't much to see here. What are you talking about? This isn't a wall. It's a mirror. Or at least it'll be a mirror once we wipe off that layer of grime.
Wipe the mirror clean.
You reach forward and rub your hand against the cabin wall. I hope you know how ridiculous you look right now. But there was a mirror a second ago, and now it's gone.
Okay, take the blade.
You take the blade from the table. It would be difficult to slay the princess and save the world without a weapon.
So, we're gonna approach this similar to Adversary. In Adversary, all the stubborn wanted to do was just fight the princess in a fair combat. But, instead we did what the hero said and tried to outsmart her, and we ended up winning. We gotta do the same thing here. The hunted is just gonna wanna, survive, but we don't wanna just survive. We actually wanna win. So, yeah. Into the basement.
The door to the basement creaks open, revealing what's left of an old wooden staircase. It's still sturdy enough that you can make your way down in one piece, though you'll have to be mindful of holes. The air seeping up from below is oddly warm and wet, as if you're descending into a jungle. If the princess lives here, slaying her would probably be doing her a favor. She growls up the stairs.
I can smell you.
She sounds almost feral, impatient, or maybe eager. You carefully make your way down the stairs. The last step gives way to the damp earth floor of a starlit pit. The walls are obscured by an impenetrable darkness, giving the illusion that the room might stretch on forever. You brush against the wide leaves of plants that surround you on all sides, seemingly the only living things that occupy this strange underground wilderness.
Have you taken up gardening recently?
The jungle is pressing in on us, hiding her from view. She could be anywhere. You see only a flash of the princess before she scurries away into the underbrush, dragging her heavy chain behind her. Remember, she's just a princess.
Yeah, again, I think there are times, narrator, where you should just roll with the imagination that we've created. You can't just make us think she's just a princess again. That's not gonna work.
She is certainly not just a princess. You're not helping.
Neither are you at the moment.
It doesn't matter what she is. It only matters what she does. Her shining eyes appear between the leaves, staring hungrily at you from the darkness.
I can hear your heart pounding from the bottom of the stairs, fledgling. You're right to be terrified. I'm so much more than you. And a little splinter clutched in trembling hands won't save you from me.
I mean, you say that, but you know.
A shiver rushes up your spine and pulls you upright. The air's shifting. She's getting ready to pounce. Move, now.
Move.
You lunge to the side, picking a direction on instinct. As you land, you're buffeted by a gust of air disturbed by the sudden motion of a massive body. The princess. In an instant, she's pounced on the spot where you would have been, her chains rattling across the floor behind her.
Oh my gosh. That image is so terrifying, but also cool.
Before you can blink, she's gone, vanishing once more into the shadows. But you still feel her gaze on you.
You're faster than you were before, but you're still meek, reactive, prey.
And again, that reactive part, obviously, like, it comes from us, you know, what we are, as well as the fact that we're the player, so we're always reacting to what the game presents us. But that kind of goes both ways, and that most of the time she doesn't actually do anything until we actually show up. I mean, even in times where she could have at least gotten free of her chains, she doesn't do so till we're actually there.
You whirl around to find her, and your gaze meets hers, a pair of shining eyes peering out at you from just beyond the basement stairs. So she's cut off our escape. Shit, what do we do?
What do you want?
I want to swallow you whole, and I will get what I want. You have no exit. You have no hope. You live and die by my whims, and my whims alone.
Yeah, again, very parallel to the tower, except in this case, you know, we're not nearly as submissive as we would be if we did the tower route. But there's still that feeling of that we're just prey, like we have no way of actually fighting back. And of course she's about to learn that's very wrong.
Don't ask her what she wants, just slay her.
My man, one does not simply slay a princess.
Is that all the advice you have? We don't even know what she looks like. Some specifics would be very helpful. She's just a princess. Don't overthink it. She is clearly not.
I was sent to kill you because you're a threat to the world. I'm starting to think that's true. Stop hiding and show yourself.
If you want to see me, you should get better at seeing.
Okay. Oh yeah. I also love that, like, the witch and the beast both turn into cat-like beings. Because, you know, we're a bird. So, it only made sense that they'd almost be like our natural enemy.
She knows that her strength lies in shadows and secrets. She won't reveal herself unless she has to. She's coiling for another strike. Be somewhere else. We're on the back foot. The back foot keeps us nimble, keeps us alive. It doesn't matter if it keeps us alive if it eventually kills us. We need to take back the momentum. We need to do something.
So, I'm gonna wait for her to strike and hit her back. So, again, we're doing the hero's advice.
This isn't going to work. We're in her domain. We just have to stay alive.
You need to do more than that. It's not enough to be alive.
If we keep dodging her forever, we're going to get tired. We're going to slip up. We have to take a risk. As the princess lunges from the shadows once more, you tighten your grip on the blade and lash out. It strikes, cutting deep, and the princess loses her focus, crying out in pained surprise as she crashes into you. You're sent sprawling and can already feel the massive bruise blossoming on your ribs as she scrambles back into the darkness. Ha! Look at that! We wounded her, and she wounded us. Bad trade.
That hurt. Are you just the cornered animal you seem to be? Or could you be a rival?
I'm more than a rival.
She rears back, then leaps at you, more forceful, more ferocious, more serious. The scuffle is brief, and though you inflict a few deep wounds, you find yourself quickly overwhelmed by her savagery. You collapse to the floor, and she wastes no time before pouncing on you in a flurry of claws and blood, your nerves barely able to keep up with the onslaught.
Oh yeah. By the way, there's a specific reason why we need to get to the den this way. Because the den is very picky about what you can do. If you go in swinging at the princess, then your best course of action for the den is to also go in swinging. But if you plan on running away from the princess, then similarly, when you get to the den, your best course of action is to continue running from the princess, using those ideas. So, if you, contradict yourself, essentially, you're basically inviting hesitation into your mind. And it's gonna get you, killed because of it.
By the end, you're lying in a nest of your own intestines, spine severed, blood rapidly draining out onto the jungle floor. The princess, drenched in both her blood and yours, idly prods your body.
No, that's it then. Cornered animal it was. Do better next time. I still need to devour you. And it doesn't count if you're dead.
That's funny. That's funny. Do better.
We're not dead, we're... But you don't have time to protest her premature observation of your death, because everything goes dark, and you die.
The den. Let's go. And we got our combo back.
You're on a path in the
Yeah, we are. And this time we're not gonna run until we die. We're taking her head on and we're winning.
Yeah, again, Stubborn and Hunted, they're just a really good combo for defeating the princess.
You felt her. She didn't have a soft underbelly. She didn't have blind spots. What could we have done that would have saved us from her hunger?
When someone tries to make you dead, you have to hit them back. You have to show them your authority. There's nothing worse than a bully that thinks they own you.
Great. So you've been here before. That doesn't bode well. You're not supposed to have been here before. This is supposed to be one and done.
Oh, shut up. It bodes fine. You're the reason we're stuck in this shit situation, and now I have to do the hard work of dragging us out.
And how do you intend to do that?
We're going to fight her, and we're going to win. There's a reason she slinks around in the shadows.
Well, no complaints here. Now hold on. We're not just going to let the fact that he knows things about this whole Lupin situation go, are we?
Yeah, because it's almost like being someone who knows that time travel could exist, but then when you see a time traveler, you go okay, that made sense. It made sense that you've traveled through time, because you know things you shouldn't know unless you have traveled through time.
He's not important. He can have his secrets for all I care. She's killed us twice now, and that's enough of a reason for us to want her dead.
Fair's fair. Okay, what's the plan?
Like I said, we're going to fight her.
But we're so small.
We don't actually know how big she is. We just know she wants us to think she's big. And if she's going to treat us like prey again, then she is sorely underestimating us. One good wallop, that's all we need to put her on the defensive.
I also, I didn't mention this before, but Beast is interesting in that it feels a little closer to, almost like a regular, video game, I guess TED-Star RPG or something like that, or visual novel RPG, I don't know what I'd consider that, where you actually do have proper win-lose scenarios regarding the beast, considering so much of what you could do could just end up in you getting eaten. And there's only so few options that actually allow you to not get eaten. So I do think it's interesting in that aspect. Probably not my favorite princess, but still very interesting in her own way. This path is different than before. We already know that it's different because her influence is pouring out more. Never hurts to ask this.
I've told you as much as I can without putting you at a disadvantage. If anything, I've told you too much. Like that grumbling voice said just a moment ago, you've already died by her hands twice. You shouldn't need much else in the way of motivation.
Let's not leave. Let's go to the cabin.
You make your way down to the cabin. Your fated confrontation awaits. You know what to do.
That's so cool. The cabin is on a hill still, but it's just the land has grown over it, and there's a tree growing out of the top of it. It's just so interesting.
We've already been over the plan.
I'm not sure that use violence counts as a plan.
It's a better plan than you had last time.
I don't like this, but I'll try to keep us breathing.
Yep, that's your only job. Just keep us alive, and Stubborn will make sure that we actually hit the princess.
The interior is dark and overgrown. Vines and brush obscure so much of the place that, had you not seen the exterior, you might not have noticed this was a cabin at all. The only furniture of note, if you could call it that, is a knotted stump, a pristine blade embedded in its exposed rings. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you're going to do this right.
Take it. We're not fighting a monster without a blade. Even if it's not a very big one.
Great. That mirror's back. And it's where the door is supposed to be.
Yep.
What are you talking about? There is no mirror. There's just the stump and a narrow tunnel that leads to the basement.
I wonder what would happen if we didn't wipe the mirror. Could we just walk through it if there's not even a door?
He isn't tricking us. Can you feel the wind? It's telling us there's a hole in that wall. Our eyes deceive us.
If that mirror's blocking our way, just smash it and be done with it.
Let's see. First, take the blade.
Yes, take the steel claw. You pull the blade from the stump, gripping it tight. It would be difficult to slay the princess and save the world without a weapon.
Good. One step closer to ending this.
Approach the mirror.
You step forward, approaching the small hole that leads to the basement, hesitating before you enter the princess's lair.
You heard him. Stop hesitating and smash that antique.
That mirror isn't part of this place. It's seeped through from somewhere else.
So, maybe the mirror... Well, I guess that's what that means. The mirror that we see in the long quiet is always there. It's just that the closer and closer that this place comes to unraveling, or the closer that we get to, stopping on a princess, the more the mirror, kind of gets in our way and is kind of telling us to, look into it, but it's still too early for us to look into it. We're not done with the scenario yet, but the mirror knows we need to look into it pretty soon. At first it's just off to the side, on the outside of our mind and whatnot. It's not something we quite need to do because it shows up on all of the Chapter 2 princesses, but by the time you have Chapter 3, it's like you're about to reach the point of no return, where you can't progress the story either further than where you're at. And the princess is about to disappear along with everything else here, leaving just the mirror, but this time actually physically there.
It, if there even is an it, is a hallucination. Like you said, you've been here twice before. Your mind was bound to start playing tricks on you eventually.
That might explain why he doesn't see the mirror, because generally speaking, like the princess says, no one really comes into the Long Quiet except for the hero and the princess. So if the mirror's just another piece of the Long Quiet, then it would make sense he wouldn't be able to see it.
It went away after we reached out to it last time. Might as well try wiping it clean again. What's the harm?
Yeah, let's go ahead and wipe it clean. I know it probably doesn't actually matter, but I'd rather go down there without the princess being able to hear me.
You reach forward and wave your hand over the open hole leading to the basement. See? Nothing. Tricks of the eye. No one sense can be trusted on its own. You step forward into the darkness. If there were once stairs leading into the basement, there is nothing left to attest to their existence now. There is only a long tunnel of packed earth, growing more narrow as you descend. It smells of mold and decay. The damp walls leave streaks of dirt along your body as you're forced to hunch, then finally squat down on all fours in order to continue. If the princess lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. As you crawl forward on hands and knees, you're met only with the sounds of ambient earth. No voice slinks confidently up the stairs, no entity threatens violence or pleads for safety. Stay quiet. Don't give her a sound.
Yeah, none of these options really matter. Purely because, again, this is a spoiler playthrough, not an unseen playthrough, but this version of the princess is almost completely an animal. There's nothing we could say that would actually properly get through to her.
You say nothing, maintaining the silence as you carefully make your way down into the basement. The basement is dark and cavernous, a gaping maw threatening to swallow you whole. There is no light here, save for what little starlight has managed to filter down the tunnel, and though you can't see the vastness of the space, you can feel it. You're exposed.
It doesn't matter if we can't see down here. We know where she is.
Step into the shadows, ready to fight. Again, like I said, if we try to lure her out, it's even worse. If we try to lure her out, we have the blade, and we've already fought her once. The hesitation is just gonna throw us off, and we're gonna end up almost getting killed. So let's get ready to fight.
You step into the shadows and are enveloped in total darkness. Your heart pounds in your chest, ears pricked, eyes wide despite the inky blackness, waiting for any sign of movement. There, she's about to strike. With the near silence of a determined predator, the princess erupts from the shadows.
Jeez. She's just this combination of multiple predators.
Quickly out, swinging your blade, its tip intercepting her before she can draw first blood. She recoils, stunned for a brief moment.
See? I told you. We needed to assert our might. We needed to prove to her that she can bleed too. She'll doubt her every move now.
Whoa. Okay, so first of all, she's got 6 legs. She's got wings on her back, a longer tail than she had before. It's interesting that her dress just turns into wrappings, and her crown is now actually embedded in her head as horns. Man. Just very solid character design. It almost looked like she had like one of her feet, some of her feet were like webbed. And then those are almost like dragon claws in the back. Very, very interesting.
But you don't have long before she lunges again, re-engaging with even more ferocity than before. But that voice in your head wasn't wrong. Within that ferocity, there is also hesitation. Not much, but enough. Not a word is spoken between you and the princess as you exchange blows in the dark. The glint of bloody claws and fangs, the flash of wet steel. In the pit, all of your senses are heightened, each injury stinging like a chorus of insects, each small shift in your favor a major victory that swells your heart. And then it all reaches a climax.
So, yeah, I'm gonna count that as our win, even if the fight didn't get to finish.
And
But he doesn't respond. Eyes glance at you, untextured, from the untextured threads of a world unraveled. Am I free, they say? I'm very curious how the beast is gonna be expanded, or more specifically the den is gonna be expanded. Maybe they'll allow you to actually finish the fight, or maybe it'll lead into another chapter. Definitely would be interesting, especially the fact that this is the only princess that doesn't directly talk. So there we are. Every single princess we fought, we won against. But you do not get the chance to respond, nor will you ever. It's time to leave. Memory returns.
she's gone. Where did she go? Should we try and find her? And there's that mirror again. Why is it here? Why now?
It's going to be okay. Just trust me. I've been here before, and you always get scared.
But it feels so bad. Like looking into it right now is going to be the end of everything. That thing reeks of death.
Screw the mirror. We just need to find the princess.
It's not the end. Whatever's on the other side is going to be nice.
Okay. If you say so. We'll trust you. I'd like to be somewhere nice.
Maybe there'll be a good fight there. Maybe we'll find her again.
This is a good time to save for certain. Let's save over that one. Approach the mirror. You approach the mirror. Gaze into your reflection. silence as you reach forward. They're gone once again. The mirror always makes them leave. But you need to see what's in it. You are nothing at all, because we never actually had a body. Or, more specifically, the long quiet itself is our body. But that isn't right. You can't be nothing. You refocus your gaze, and then you see it. A figure faint and veiled in shadow, just beyond the reflection. Are you me?
I think you know what I am.
Kret slides down the center of the mirror, splitting the image in the glass in two. And then another crack forms, and another, turning the mirror into jagged shards of broken glass. One of the lines directly from the Spectre. Which is another fun thing. Almost every princess gives you a little piece of the puzzle. Their lines can usually be found somewhere in what either happens here or what the shifting mound, aka the princess, ends up saying later on. So, it's just another one of those things that shows you all of the princesses just have a little bit of the truth. Just like all of our voices, just have a little bit. So, if you really listen to all of the game, even the narrator, even though the narrator hides things, you get a little bit of the truth each time. You're the narrator, if you're not me, then what are you?
I am an echo, likely one of many. Somebody made you after all, and I'm what's left of him. Not that I'm the only one who can make that claim. I'm sure you've met many others like me.
I have so many questions for you. Yeah, no. Does it hurt when pieces of you break off like that? Yeah, no. You're the one who wanted me to slay the princess. Why?
Because among other things, she is death itself. To rid the world of suffering, to save untold trillions from being lost forever to the cosmic wind, she must be destroyed.
And while that sounds nice, actually it doesn't even sound nice. We on our way to the Spectre, we saw how that felt, and it wasn't great. But I feel like you'd also be preventing, new life from forming properly.
And despite how far you've fallen, you will still have a chance to fulfill your purpose once I'm gone.
That is true. You said she contains death. What is she?
She is the shifting mound, the ebb and flow, the capacity to change. She is transformation, or most of it. Her nature is why I had to die, for she becomes that which others perceive her to be. But an echo can't perceive things, not in the way that people can.
So again, phrases like ebb and flow, that's often been used to sometimes describe certain fights. For example, if you fight the Razor, actually using the blade, then the terms ebb and flow are actually going to be said. And I think the shifting mound, before she's even complete, even says ebb and flow. If I destroy her, won't I be alone?
Yes, you will, but it will all be worth it.
Do you know things won't just be worse if I destroy her? What would it be like to live in a world without her?
Light, burdenless, an eternal pattern of forgetfulness leading into the joys of rediscovery. Everyone will be with the ones they love. No more fear, no more howling chaos. Just life, forever.
Which kind of leans into more what the hunted tends to do, which is just surviving. If there's no fear, if there's nothing slightly pushing you forward, that doesn't sound like much of a life, necessarily. Even if it sounds like an easier way to live, per se.
There's a cruel irony to it all. The only way I could share my dream with the world was to never be able to see it for myself.
Let's see. Of all things, why is she a princess? Why couldn't she be an ant or a soggy slice of bread?
Are you asking me to spend my final moments psychoanalyzing you? She wound up a princess because you wanted her to be a princess. As to why, maybe she needed to be beautiful, important, above you, but on a level you could still approach. A herald of things to come.
Yeah. I kind of agree to that. Usually whenever you feel things change, that usually feels more dangerous, more important, and whatnot than when you feel things staying the same. And not to mention that change in its nature feels more active and ongoing rather than like something like a moment. So it's also a reason why she tends to be more dominant. She tends to feel like she's stronger than us, simply because that's how she feels.
I don't know. Gods are supposed to be beyond comprehension. I really shouldn't try and anthropomorphize you like this.
But you did, so... let's see... sure. Where is this place? Why would you want how did you die?
I killed myself. It had to be done, really. None of this would have worked if I was still alive. Nobody living could know about her.
Let's see. If you made me, then what am I?
You're the long quiet, the god I made to rid the world of death.
A god. I always knew I was special. Let's see. I mean, we actually won't be able to will her into anything anymore because, by now she's absorbed so many versions of herself that she's everything at once. But, I'll still get it from the narrator's mouth.
As you are now, you won't be able to will her into anything. You don't work the way a living being does. Not anymore.
That is also a good point. Can't really will her into anything because I'm not a person. It's part of the reason why he had to give me a physical body. Not only that, but in order for the time loops to actually work, you have to die and then restart. So you need a living body to do that.
And as you were before, you couldn't be trusted with the knowledge of what she is. No one could be trusted with that knowledge. Intrusive thoughts have a way of creeping in and ruining everything. It's why I had to die.
Yeah. The only thing is, the narrator's not necessarily the nicest person. Then again, I suppose most people wouldn't necessarily be nice if they went through what he went through, but, you know, there are ways he could have done this that would have been a little easier. Let's see. I really only have one thing. What if neither of us leave this place? Does that work? Can we just stay here together and leave the people out there alone?
It wouldn't work. Her nature as the shifting mound makes it so nothing can last forever as it is now. It wouldn't matter how long the two of you waited. Eventually she would find a way to leave. And then everything would change. Everything would face oblivion.
Yeah. Which made sense. Like, you know, nothing lasts forever, which, golly, love that song from Femi C. But here it actually, its double meaning actually made sense. Nothing lasts forever. We are nothing, and kind of lasts forever. But also, nothing lasts forever. No matter what, the princess is gonna eventually change something. And if changing something means leaving, then yeah.
Until then, the clock ticks on.
I think you're out of time. I'm not gonna slay her, and I want you to know that before you die today. I'm just gonna tell him he's out of time and save one more time, because I'm gonna do 2 endings. One that's a little unfitting, and then one that is fitting considering everything we've done.
So I am. It's like I said, I'm just an echo. And echoes always fade away. You know what you have to do.
Yeah, and that's also pretty cool and interesting, because that is how he's always met his end. Every single time we finish a storyline, his voice always fades away, rather than just abruptly being cut off. As the final fragment of glass shatters, you see yourself with newfound clarity. The narrator was right. You are the Long Quiet, a vast and nascent god, and it is finally time for you to wake up. All of this is you. Proceed to the cabin one last time. When you arrive at the heart of things, there is no final vessel for you to bear witness to. There is nothing for you to find. Because the princess naturally is in the basement, like she always is.
I can finally see you, and you can finally see me. It's been so long, and my heart has ached for this moment. I've missed you dearly.
I've missed you too. Do you know about the echo? Did you hear our conversation?
Every word you spoke found its way to me. I know him. He was deluded by his fear of death. Pay him no mind.
I am the Long Quiet, but I don't really know what that means.
Names are their attempts to capture that which cannot be captured. They call me the Shifting Mound, a pale imitation of what I actually am.
What happens now?
Ever the passive player, always reacting and never acting. But it's woven into your nature, isn't it? When the Echo spun us from one into two, he gave you a choice and me a role to play. I am not death, but I contain it in my multitudes.
That's so interesting. The other faces on the side of her body do change expression every once in a while.
So, will you attempt to destroy me and bring about a world devoid of death and the possibility of meaning? Or will you open the final doors to our liberation?
There's so many stories we've left unfinished. Can we really just leave? Don't you have a say in all this? Why is this falling on me? Let's thought this through. I still have so many questions I need to... if I let you... if you were always going to be there... There has to be a note. I told you what was going to happen. I told you what was going to happen when we reached this point. Slay the princess.
I know. And I've been waiting for you to see it through. Violence has always been our language, hasn't it?
Yep.
If this is what it takes to save you, then so be it.
You are devoured. Pray for something bigger than you that stalks and slinks in shadows. But even after the pain of defeat, you return.
Oh my gosh. Do I actually have pupils in that shot? You can almost see like the tiny black of my eyes. That's so cool. Maybe it's just my imagination, but that's what that looks like. And then obviously behind me is the tunnel that I came through.
The dance is its own truth. It is the movement that matters, not the pause you mistake for an ending.
Well, no offense, but I am that pause and ending, and most of those endings I did pretty good, I'd say. Justice appeal to your humanity, reject her, argue and repent, reject her perspective. I'm gonna do this the entire time. I won't engage with violence.
But violence has defined the flow of everything between us. Do not deny what we are, and do not color our conflict with fear. A web of nerves, lain upon a web of nerves, lain upon a web of nerves. The shade of a beautiful beginning we can never return to. You knew me, and I knew you, even more than either of us know each other now. And you chose to pull apart that weave.
That's so cool. Okay, like, look at how the princess is, instead of like just regularly supporting her body like earlier, they're now like lifting her up. And her arms are almost like tree branches.
And when the tapestry was undone, you struck at my heart. You saw me as a part of you to be excised, but in that desire for excision, you made yourself whole. Will you still be whole if you destroy me?
Yes. Also, we know this vessel doesn't have arms of her own, so are the other vessels like helping her be more expressive? That's really cool. Same thing. Continue to reject her perspective. Doesn't matter how I feel. Death, suffering, and oblivion shouldn't fall on others. If we are able to transcend death, then we are responsible for those it holds captive. which is kind of fair. Like, in reality, I mainly side with the princess, but this is a view worth, thinking about, considering we're both gods.
The echo saw horrors because his eyes were closed. The majesty of being extends beyond any single perspective.
I crush you. I bleed you. I grind you to paste. My scars are a memory of what you used to be to me. I want those feelings back.
That's awesome. You can tell it's us just trying to bait her out and getting ready to run for it.
You run, but you do not run away. You take me somewhere new, somewhere we can dance like we used to. But I could not follow your steps.
Yeah, you were a little slow there.
There was no better gift for me than the gift of defeat. You showed me how much more I could be. We made each other better. To have no challenge is to fade into nothing. A life without obstacles is no life at all.
Suffering born in delusion is still suffering. It doesn't matter what we are now. We hurt each other, and we shouldn't have done that. We cannot let a world be spun out of that pain.
Their suffering is born of their own delusion.
Okay. I'm not sure if I agree with that. Especially since we have the chance to forge a completely new world, but okay. I mean, slightly true, and that we usually get in our own way.
A boundless torrent of blades cut you from boundless angles. You are a body. You are gory ribbons. You are a body again. And you feel all of it. On it goes until your bodies are not your thoughts, are not you. Alive, dead, then alive and dead, all at once. You learn to put yourself away, and in your stillness you humbled me.
Yes, I'm about to do it again.
You died countless steely deaths, and you lived countless short lives, and yet it is all so far behind you. I pushed you to a greatness you never would have reached without me.
Yeah, but technically speaking, I only reached that greatness because I'm a deathless being. If I actually died like any other mortal, I actually wouldn't have reached that greatness. Yeah, I'm mostly playing devil's advocate for most of this. Continue to reject her perspective. You reject the suffering of material reality, and yet you cling to its framework for meaning. We can be better than this.
I reject the narrow view of impermanence. I cling to nothing. There is no better us for us to be than us. We are reality itself.
Reject the narrow view of impermanence. Well, okay.
The shiver passes through you as unseen fingers dance across your skin. They remember the violence you inflicted on them, and yet they don't return it.
I returned it.
I offer you absolution, and you take my hand in yours. But you do not follow my path. Hands clasped together, you break yourself, and you break me with you. You were willing to sacrifice everything you thought was you to end me again.
Why do you say that with a smile? I think this princess has the right idea. Just like, yeah, you did that. Why? Continue to reject her perspective. You claim your destruction would steal meaning from existence, but if my actions can make existence work, then there must be actions that make it better. Perfection implies finality, and nothing is final. Claim your destruction would steal meaning from existence, but my actions can make... If my actions can make it better, there must be actions that can make it better. Perfection and nothing is final. So basically nothing is perfect. If my actions can actively make things better on my own terms, then surely by all means I can inflict enough change in the world for things to be fine enough? Is that what that means? I feel like this might fit with, like, if I chose a different princess, maybe. But then again, like, I'm choosing to address her, not the vessel, so...
There has never been finality. There is only the unending transformation of my multitudes. But to destroy me is to bring everything to a stop. It is only then that you will have an ending, and that ending is nothingness.
I disagree, because I kind of feel like, again, you're discounting my role. Like, I am still stillness, you know. All those moments, all of those endings, that's kind of where you have me. And, you know, sometimes just remembering a moment, you know, it's nice enough. So I kind of feel like you're discounting me a little bit. At the same time, I'm kind of discounting you, but, you know, fair enough. But I feel like it's even more. That ending is nothingness. It's only then when you'll have that ending is nothingness. Except, at the same time, and I didn't get to it with the narrator, he does say, if you choose different options, that you have a part of her and she has a part of you. So, you know, even within herself, there are endings, there are moments. It's not just all encompassing change, and same with me. It isn't just stillness, you know, after all, I do have the other voices, you know, all those voices are my expression of change. So, an ending wouldn't be nothingness. I don't think it would be worth it, like, at least what the narrator is hoping and thinking of. But I don't think it's gonna be nothingness either. Oh my gosh, I've never gotten this. It's the clash between you and Bates. The princess withdraws, trembling. I have never gotten that before. Okay, if anyone else has seen multiple YouTube videos or played this game, you know that it usually goes the other way around. It's usually your will that is buckling under the pressure of the princess. But here, I have been so relentless, not only in fighting all the princesses, but in this debate with the princess, I've been so stubborn that the princess is actually having to withdraw. I have never gotten that. I've only gotten either where your will is withering or where you and the princess are at a standstill, so this is cool.
You are unmovable. Is it by the design of our conflict that I cannot win? Or are you just that fervent in how you cling to delusion?
I mean, both. I'm being, like, unnaturally stubborn, but also, I have won all of our conflicts. You know, you might have killed me a few times, but I always won in the end. So...
Are you so desperate to destroy me that you've grown blind to the heavenly beauty of our reality? Nothing is immutable. Everything that is exists only in relation to everything it isn't.
I mean, technically it's true, nothing is immutable. Because, you know, since I have a part of her, I am kind of changeable. What in the world is that face? Again, I'm constantly coming back to these faces. So interesting.
There is no constant. There is no center.
Except those are the things that I represent. Like, I am constant. And technically, if there is no constant, that in itself is a constant. It's a bit paradoxical. If you think of it like that. If there's no constant, then the only constant is that there's no constant.
You cannot remove something without removing the relations which define it. To destroy what you perceive as evil is to damn everything you perceive as good.
I mean, not everything, just a lot of things. You know, like living a super fulfilling life, taking risk, you know, dealing with danger and conflicts. You know, just things like that.
Open your eyes and accept what we are. We can leave this prison together.
It's easy to believe in the things you believe in when you sit above it all, which happens, you think, I can't let that happen, I can't let everything die. I have to fight for a better world, and I'm so sorry. You are cruelty. It's true, but we've kind of both been going at it, so you are cruelty itself, and I cannot let you exist.
Oh, then destroy me if you're able. But I will not coddle you in my final moments. I will not yield to your delusion without a vicious struggle.
I'm really curious now. I'm very curious if in the pristine cut, we're also going to get this kind of fight. Because it would be very interesting to have an ending where the princess completely overpowers us, or we completely overpower her without, you know, what's about to happen.
You don't have to face her alone.
I can do this alone.
You've been doing all right on your own, but you're not going to strike a decisive blow from out here.
Huh. That's actually interesting too. Like, almost like, even though she has a more fierce gaze, maybe not as fierce as before, there's still a hint of worry instead also in there.
There's still a piece of me nestled close to where it all began. I can take you there. I can take you to her heart.
It's time to resume our dance.
She's relentless, isn't she? Let's make this quick. Are you ready?
I'll say I can do this out here on my own, but it really doesn't matter.
You can't, and lucky for you, I'm not going to let you try. And here we are. I'd say we were back where it all started, but I guess it's a little after that, isn't it? Do you need me to describe things?
I'd like that for old time's sake.
Yeah, of course. The interior of the cabin is, well, it's a cabin, yeah? There isn't much here, just a table and a knife and a door. And some windows. There's no mirror, either. I think you broke it.
I am the mirror. I am the mirror that breaks.
And I know I've already mentioned it, but if we want to see this through, we're going to need that blade.
Which is very interesting, how the game does that kind of stuff. We're going to do the no blade option first, because there are some conversation stuff I want to have with the princess, but then we actually will take the blade. So let's save one last time. Yeah, one last save. But yeah, the game is always trying to like push your thoughts in certain ways. You know, the narrator, for example, will like kind of make you regret not taking the blade, and quite often taking the blade, you know, usually leads to like more options generally, with it leading to like the specter, the razor, it can take you to the nightmare, you get the adversary, you get the tower, like you get a lot more endings that way. But yeah, in this case, we're just getting into the basement. Get.
No blade it is. Have you given up on slaying her?
I mean, for a couple of reasons. Conversation reasons, and also she's gotta be so confused. She's been like, you've been trying to kill me the whole time, and in the last second you just decide not to? What's going on?
The stairs. Do you remember the first time we were here? The first time we heard her voice?
We both know why you're here. You don't have to draw it out for my sake.
It sounded just like that. A little sharp, a little menacing. Only she didn't know us.
Continue down the stairs.
And down we go. We shouldn't keep her waiting.
And there you are, hands empty. And here I thought you wanted to kill me. Are you getting cold feet? Are you trying to give me a fighting chance?
That would also be interesting, too, because in this specific circumstances, it actually would be a fair fight. She wouldn't probably transform into anything or anything like that. All we have is our first voice, the voice of the hero, pretty much. So, well, I guess technically second voice, but, yeah, we technically could actually have a fair fight from in here.
Maybe there's still room for us to chat before the final curtain call. What do you say?
Sit with her. Sorry for all the times I've hurt you.
Well, you did stab me to death as soon as we met. But it's not like I'm completely innocent. We both took things a little far.
Okay, that's actually a little funny, because at least most of the time when you choose a different princess, like literally anything other than that, she can at least go like, well, I did accidentally end the world, or I did also like claw you to death, or whatever. So it's just like, I mean, you stabbed me to death as soon as we met, but I guess I'm not innocent.
Still, apology accepted.
You know, when she puts it like that,
It's so good to finally see you again.
Right back at you. In a way, it hasn't been much time at all, but it feels like it's been forever since I've seen you. Thanks for coming back.
Yeah. And I do love the additions they've made to this. I made this update a few months ago. So this specific version of the princess is basically almost like the first version of her in a way, but with still with all of the knowledge of the other run-throughs or something of that nature. So that means since you have 20 different princesses, you could have 20 different playthroughs that are all going to be different as long as you choose a different first princess. So I think that's kind of nice. Makes the game very replayable. Which princess are you? You look like you did the first time we met. Is this the real you?
I'm the same princess that's been with you since the beginning. And I feel real. But I also feel like I'm a lot more than I was then. We've been through a lot together. I don't think there's anything more real than that.
So, now that we're here at the end of everything, can you finally tell me your name?
I never had one. And do not call me the Shifting Mound. It's too much.
That does remind me of BioShock Infinite. Just Elizabeth calling Booker the false prophet, and Booker calling her the lamb or whatever. It's actually they both just immediately agree. Yeah, maybe let's never call each other that. It just feels wrong.
But I've always been a princess to you, right? So why don't we stick with that? And as for you, well, hero works for me.
but that's me. You know, I think I like that.
I only wanted to slay the you out there. It's easier to want to kill an abstract thought than it is a person. I don't think I really ever wanted to slay you, but I don't like what your existence means for the world.
You were the one who decided to come down here without a weapon. So, what's your plan?
What do you think of her? What she wanted us to be?
I don't think she's the sort of thing you can really disagree with. It doesn't matter if she's right or wrong because she exists. She's this big, unrelenting force, and there's no arguing with her.
See, again, like, it feels very one-sided because based on our argument with her, you know, we're the same. We're a big, unrelenting force, and if we choose to do so, we can just be completely stubborn and unrelenting, and there's absolutely no arguing with us, like, no matter how much you talk to us. But then again, maybe it's the fact that we even have the possibility to agree with her, or that we even have the possibility for other options that makes us a little easier to fight. Whereas for her, you know, she is never going to back down. There is no version of her that backs down necessarily in the same way that we would back down.
But I guess that was the question out there, wasn't it? And it was the question before you came down here, too. Should she get to exist? I'm glad you didn't bring that knife with you. And I don't want to be her, if that's what you're asking. I think I just want to be me.
Yeah, I'm happy not to be everything. Just being us is plenty.
Not this was ever really fair for either of us, was it?
No, it really wasn't. But just because it hasn't been fair doesn't mean that it hasn't been worth it. I'm really glad I got to know you.
I'm surprised because I haven't been necessarily nice to you. Are you the same as you are out there?
I don't know. I'm a part of her, I think. But she's seen so much more than we have. Like, she's seen everything, right? I don't think I could hold all of that without losing myself. I don't think you could either.
I don't think I want to be a god.
Doesn't matter what we call ourselves. It's just another label, and I don't think labels have ever helped us. All they do is cram us into boxes where we don't fit.
It's interesting. That does make me think of the title labels. It's something that's interesting. I mean, it's something that's food for thought.
Just like this cabin.
I think the only thing left for us to do here is leave.
Do you know where this cabin is? Because I don't. I don't even know what's supposed to be outside other than us. What would even happen if we leave? What would that even mean?
I don't know, but I've always wanted to leave with you. I just don't like being a god. Not knowing what it means is why I want it. We knew everything out there, but we don't know this. Doesn't matter what happens. What matters is that we're leaving together. That's all I want. I think this makes more sense for our relationship. I want to leave because we don't know it.
I guess when you put it that way, I want that too.
I think I'm going to stay right here. Whatever you're doing right now, wherever you're going, it feels like it's for just the two of you.
Thanks
Don't
for
mention it.
everything.
Thanks for making all the hard choices along the way.
Thanks for giving really good suggestions. Leave with the princess. You lead and the princess follows, and together you leave the basement behind for the last time. It's quiet as you ascend, a comfortable silence filling a space that used to be flooded with violence and words and noisy thoughts. There's an energy in the silence, an electricity, the anticipation of the unknown. At the top of the stairs, the princess stalls, eyes fixed on the cabin door. You can see that attention sees her. She's unsure of herself for the first time in her long and short existence. She has no part to play anymore. She knows this, yet she still is. And then she crosses the room to the door outside. You follow her confident steps.
This is it. I have no idea what it's going to be like out there. Not that I'm scared or anything. It's exciting, really. Anything could happen. And if it's bad, then it won't be bad. Not with you.
Who's gonna open the door?
Both of us. Together.
Okay. Alright. So that's one of the endings. Golly, the fact that they got an orchestra is so cool. Jeez. They've gotten a lot of people. Special thanks. And that's our song. Princess, the World Ender, the Spectre, Shifting Mound, Movement 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the Wild, and the Long Quiet. Alright. Now, let's do that other ending. The ending that properly ends this playthrough. Let's take the blade.
That's probably for the best. It's always seemed to give us more options than not.
Is that just you and me? Did anyone else make it to the cabin?
It's just us. I think the rest of them are still out there, jumbled up in the rest of her.
Is the narrator really going?
Yeah, it's dead silent in here. Whatever it was that was left of him, I don't think it could handle you waking up to godhood. Pretty sure he got obliterated.
I don't know how to actually feel about him being...
Yeah, it's complicated. He put us through hell, but he's been part of us since the very beginning, hasn't he?
Into the basement.
The stairs. Do you remember the first time we were here? The first time we heard her voice?
We both know why you're here. You don't have to draw it out for my sake.
It sounded just like that. A little sharp, a little menacing. Only she didn't know us. And down we go. We shouldn't keep her waiting.
And there you are, knife in hand. That sight brings me back. You're going to do it then, aren't you? You're really going to kill me.
Yep.
You'll have all of eternity to yourself after this. Why don't we chat a little before I go?
Let's go ahead and sit with her. I only want to say, I don't want to hurt anyone. I don't think I ever, but I don't like. I don't want to have to slay you, but I don't know what other options there are.
Well, I don't want to be at the end of that knife, so how about we figure something out? What if we tried doing this forever? I can do whatever you think I can, right? So, make me put it all back. Make me fix whatever this place is and make me wipe our memories of everything that's happened. Make me send us back to the beginning, before we woke up. Before either of us saw the truth.
Can she really do that? Are you sure that's what you want?
Not really. Is there any other way? Oh, wow. Is it too late to go back to being a god?
Yeah, I think it's too late for that. But maybe next time. Fixing that is on you, not me. If you want me to help them, you'll have to make me help them.
Okay, but you do have a little of agency yourself, so if you could also help in that effort. We're gonna find ourselves back here eventually.
And if we do, nothing is stopping us from making the same choice. We could just keep doing this forever.
Is there any other way?
You brought that knife down here for a reason. Either you use it to kill me, or I use it to put things back. Well, I don't think that's something we'll ever get to know.
but odds are we've probably done it before.
Yes, I have. How do you know things won't end worse? What if when I make my way back here, I'm different and I hurt you? What if I kill you? What if I let you bring about the end of everything?
Who cares? We've hurt each other plenty, and I still like you.
Which is wild.
And if you're hesitating, then you must still like me, too.
I don't want to forget you.
That's sweet. But unless you do, the whole world ends, right? Not like I care, but it seems important to you.
That's still... That's also very interesting. The fact that we see ourselves as the hero, so by extension, we do, like, somewhat care about the world, even though we never, like, see worlds end or anything, so that makes it hard to fully care, but a part of us does care about doing specifically the right thing. Whereas the princess, partially because she becomes whatever we perceive her to be, I guess kind of maybe that even is part of her being a princess. You can have a really nice princess, you know, that really cares about people and wants to help out the world, or you could have a princess that, like, sucks. I'm sorry, but I can't do that.
You and me both. Whatever world you want to build without me, I hope it works out. Despite our differences, I've always loved you, and I wish you nothing but the best.
Yeah. Again, it's very interesting. There's always a attraction between us, regardless of whatever princess. Even like princesses that kind of hate us, that hatred is generally born out of, like, kind of feeling betrayed or wounded in a way that we can't really make up for anymore. You blink and the princess is gone. All you have left of her is a small melancholic wake that sits at the borders of your heart. Whatever action brought you and the princess into being was rough and jagged, and left each of you with a piece of the other. By destroying her once and for all, you also destroyed a part of yourself. But the world hasn't ended. Things continue on.
She's gone. And I don't think she's coming back.
No, she's not. A small part of her is with us. Or it's more, no, she's not.
Then we did what we set out to do. Come on, let's get going. We don't need to linger down here anymore.
Yeah. Leave the cabin. Leave the basement behind. Then the stairs. And then you leave the cabin itself, which, again, it's so cool. Her bursting out of the, supposed cabin.
It's quiet here.
Even how, like, the feathers flow. They flow down from the cabin, and the sky kind of flows out. The path in the woods outside are an empty canvas, but there's even more to see beyond this place. The fruits of your labor, a world free from death. Set yourself free. The body of an ancient creature stirs from its hibernation. You feel sensation in limbs you once couldn't fathom. Everything here is you. You feel your wings spanning a cosmic scale, but twisted and crumpled and bound in agonizing tension to a finite plane. You can feel the glass of your cage pressing in on you, confining you across infinite sides and infinite angles. You push back and strain against it, but it does not yield.
He's gone. She's gone. No one is left to trap us here but us.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's almost like the construct just wraps the long quiet in on itself. And we even see with the basement, it's made out of that same textured nothingness that kind of covers up the princess. Open your heart and bear witness to your new kingdom. All at once, the unyielding tension gives way. And then the shattering. You are free, and before you lies the endless expanse of absolute reality. A new absolute reality, one forged by your will and by a long and arduous cycle of bloodshed that has stained your hands countless times. But there will be no more bloodshed in this new world.
It's finally over, isn't it? But all of us are still here.
I knew we'd finally see it through. All it takes to be a winner is grit and determination.
We really did win, didn't we?
Yes, we did. We won.
We're the house now. We get to make the rules. This is nice. No more hunting. No more running. Just us. And whatever's out there.
Absolute reality. Who would have thought there was really a world outside of us? And who would have thought we'd actually wind up siding with him?
I mean, chose it as soon as we started this Let's Play.
The whispering, and the coercion, and the bickering. Everything horrible about being alive has stopped. I could get used to this.
That wasn't very hard at all. Speak for yourself.
Well, boys, how does it feel? We're not just on top of the pecking order, we are the pecking order now. I hope this was all worth it, because I'm personally inconsolable.
It's actually hilarious. Out of this entire playthrough, we only got smitten once. And that was just in the Razor route, which, we were gonna get smitten no matter what, because of the nature of that route, but...
Lucky for us, you have forever to get over it.
Yep.
Time mends a lot of things. You'll get better.
Hear, hear, to our vanquished foe.
A winner is us.
It's good to be back. Now we just have to figure out what to do with ourselves. Forever. No problem. We can do that, yeah? Yeah. We can do that.
And there it is. We beat Slay the Princess. We beat the game. We won. We'll see when these come out. I'll probably be aiming before the pristine cut, but obviously Between Two Worlds needs to come out hopefully before these videos, so we'll see. Either way, let me know if you want me to play the pristine cut, and I'll let the credits finish before saying goodbye. So, with that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!